Hello, everyone. Dr. Allen here. There's some familiar names I saw on our roster for 380 and for Education 500. So it's good to see you again. If you don't know me or if I haven't had you, again, I'm Dr. Allen. And this is actually our first video for the class. I'm sorry, I'm going to fix my camera right now. A few things before I even start going into the class type things. One, welcome to the summer. Two, I usually try to do these videos in one take as best I can, only because if we were meeting and I messed up, I wouldn't, reset unless it's something really, really off the rails. So if I bumble or babble or anything like that, forgive me. I'm just trying to get you out a video. We are an asynchronous course, but I will do weekly videos. And also, before I dive into everything, I wanted to kind of apologize for one thing that can't kind of be helped. Normally, when I do this class during this normal semester, fall or spring, I try to keep the videos at about 10 to 15 minutes at max. I'm going to try my best to keep everything within 50 minutes after this initial one. But with it being a summer class, we have a little more that we're doing in a short amount of time. So the videos might be a little longer. And for that, I do apologize. One thing I will do, I know I'm covering a lot in a short amount of time. There will always be supplemental videos with the tech that we're using that might even go into things a little better than I will. So for example, if we're doing something on Nearpod, I'll show you how I use Nearpod, but maybe I'm not articulating it in a way to help you because I'm trying to bust through so quick. There'll be another video from someone who's probably a little more polished showing you some of the things with like Nearpod. So that's neither here nor there. Welcome, everyone. I guess I just kind of jumped right into everything, but welcome to the class. Glad to see that we're here. And again, this is a cross-listed class, so you may hear me refer to 380 or 500. You're both supposed to be in here. I usually just do one video for both. The only difference between the classes is 500, you have a research component that I'll talk about a little bit later. So with all that being said, I am going to share my screen, if I can find it. And let me scoot that down so I can find our week one and go from there. Before I do anything, I guess I better go over the syllabus. This is actually, I think it's still got last year's up, but don't worry, it's the same exact syllabus except for some dates. So I'm just going to go ahead and touch on it when I'm recording it. So I'm doing it a little early. I've already made the syllabus. So office hours, just so you know, by appointment in the summer. I'm usually around though. I'm going on vacation in July, so it shouldn't be a major problem. If we need to meet up or anything, just tell me. I'll probably be on campus or we can do Zoom. I'm a little hobbled at the moment. I kind of was playing tennis with my son and has a little bit of a strain. So if I come on campus, don't worry if you see me coming in injured. I'm only acknowledging that because I just realized that what I'm getting around with was behind me, in case you were wondering. So anyway, enough about me. Office hours, though, just contact when you need me. Honor code, things like that. I'm assuming everyone's pretty comfortable or familiar with it, but that means basically make sure that you're honest, don't cheat, anything like that. This class, as far as a course description, we're going to talk about a few things. I really do try to make this class field oriented as much as I can. And what I mean by that is I try to make it that the tech that you're going to see is something that you might use out in the field. You're not going to use all the tech that's shown in this class. There are things that you will gravitate to. There'll be things that you hate, and that's fine. It does not offend me in the least. There'll be things hopefully that you like, and that's kind of what we're doing. So we'll experiment. We will talk about how you can implement them in the class and how they may benefit some things. Also, we're going to do some blogs and all. Again, we're in a short amount of time, so some of this is basically going to be like, here's the tech, check it out. What are your thoughts? How would you use it? Let's move on. But neither here nor there, we'll look at some things. And by the way, if there is a tech that you think is pretty cool that you've seen, I just found a few that I'm actually trying to maybe work in here during the semester, at least to show you, even if we don't have an assignment. There's things that are changing so fast. So please share it. No problems there. And actually, most of you have been out in the field now. You may have seen something that I don't have in here that you think might be a benefit. Please, I keep a running list with all this stuff. I'm not going to go over all the core. If you want to see this, this will be posted, but this is how our objectives line up. Readings, I did not do a textbook for this class. I have sometimes. I decided not to for the summer because it's so short. There will be internet articles, and our discussion boards will be connected to those, and some of the readings with some of the tech will be posted. So especially to help with the blogs and things like that. And there's some of them right there. I'm going back through because I use these a lot, but I like to make sure that the links work. So if you run into a link that isn't working, just tell me. I should have everything up to date again by the time you hit this. If you need any help, again, there's the Academic Support Center. I will say, again, this is a really short class. Please make sure you're working on the weekly schedule. Most of the tech, I think, is pretty self-explanatory, but try to make whatever's due that week, please have it in, just because if not, once you get backed up, things start to build up. But I usually do 5 points a day. I will admit, if there's something that comes up that's an emergency and you give me a heads up, I'm usually pretty flexible about working with you. But if I don't hear from you or anything like that, why something's late and it just shows up. Usually I take 5 points off a day. Also, another thing, if you were really having problems with Brightspace submitting something, I don't think it'll be as much a problem as it was last summer because it was the first time we did it. Just email me something. There is one assignment related to filming that's pretty large, and most people end up emailing it to me, which is fine and actually makes a lot of sense. But we'll talk about that down the road. In case you're wondering what the course breakdown is for grades, there's a lesson plan brainstorming activity. I'll go over that in another video. Probably we'll do it next week to introduce it. It's just kind of an outline of how you would incorporate some of the technology. We're going to talk about 21st century skills a little bit too. Again, I'll probably get into that a little more next week just because there's so much that's going to be on today's class or this week's class. There are discussion boards. They'll be related to the readings. I'll have those posted up. And again, the discussion board will be there. There'll be links within the Brightspace. I'm assuming everyone's familiar with Brightspace, but as you can see there's our outline for the weeks. Boom, 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 boom. We're technically 5 weeks. I combined 4 and 5 because it runs in together and there's a big assignment that's due at the end. So I just kind of kept it together. Classroom resources, that is basically the tech that you're going to be using. That's like most weeks I have. Usually it's in the summer, it's 2 to 3 techs. So you might use Wakelet, Nearpod, Kahoot, boom, boom, boom. And you're going to do those techs and you're going to create something. Usually I just have a little bit of scales that I want you to do. Like for Kahoot, I think most people will be familiar with. I want you to do 10 questions on a Kahoot around your content area, and you do a blog, which is the next thing, and you'll review that tech. For the summer, I'm usually one of the adaptations that I do for the blog, since you're going to be doing 3 techs, and we'll talk like this coming week, you're going to do Google Arts and Culture, you're going to do Google Classroom, and you're going to do a website. I just tell you to pick one. Traditionally, I like a blog for each tech, but again, I just think we can do one. If you want to do a little more or incorporate all 3 a little bit, just kind of do a line, that's fine. But I'm only going to obligate you to review one of them. The blogs only need to be about 2 to 3 sentences at most. I'm just kind of looking like, I certify fresh Nearpod because I like how it has assessment tools in it and I can communicate with the students. That's good. That's a blog. I'll take that. The discussion boards, I do want those to be about 200 words. I do usually check, again, if you come in at 189 and it's a really good thought, that's fine. I do want you to put a little bit of thought though into discussion boards. I don't think 200 words is too terribly bad to ask for. The last thing, technology certification. For this class, you have to either complete the Apple or the Google One certification. I will have links. And again, that might be something, I might pop that up here at the end and talk a little more about it because some people like to start them. I will tell you, it's gotten to the point, I think even for the fall, I've decided to keep the Google one on for the spring. I'm sorry, for the summer. The Apple is free. The Google one costs $10. The Google one is a test, and the Apple one is a series of like little things you can do for either an iMac or iPad, and the Apple one is free. And schools are starting to ask about the Apple one a little more because as things are starting to kind of come back to normal after the pandemic, or as I guess in the end of the pandemic, a lot of schools are starting to implement more Apple stuff. Basically, this is my way of telling you, if I had to tell you to pick one, I would do the Apple one. only because it's free and it seems like most people have less headaches with it. Also, the Google one, because you take a test, sometimes you have to register and they might be like a week or two delay. It's fine. I usually just tell people as long as you're registered, I'm fine with it. But it's apparently some people have problems. You don't have to pass the test. I just want you to take the test. But some people, after they pay $10, they might not score super high. And I think it just frustrates people. So basically what I'm saying is you can do Google one if you want, but I would recommend doing the Apple. So it's actually, I think it's just going to be Apple in the fall, but you don't care about the fall because you're in here for the summer. So anyway, there's some of the activities that we're going to do. As you can see, it's a little more streamlined for the summer, but we're going to do lesson plan, brainstorming. I'll talk about that a little more next week. That's pretty cut and dry. It's not due towards the end. We're going to do discussion boards. We'll have 5 discussion boards. Boom, 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 boom. One for each week. Website. We're going to actually get into that this week. We're going to talk about Google Classroom this week. That's 10 points. Software, that's going to be stuff like Nearpod, Pear Deck. Pear Deck's gaining a lot of steam. We'll talk about that. Usually I show one of the presentation softwares, but if people are familiar with another one, that's fine. And I do have videos up for all of them. Ed Puzzle is one that a lot of people like. We're going to do formative assessment types. That's like your GimKit, your Kahoots, things like that. Wakelet, Padlet, I like both. You'll be able to choose which one you want to do. I am going to ask you to create a video just to kind of get used to hearing yourself on film, some of the editing aspects, because it can only be 3 minutes, just kind of help you get a little prep for EdTPA in the future. We'll do a fun tech review, one where you could pick one, and Flipgrid. I have kept Flipgrid on here. When I started teaching this class, Flipgrid was like, wow, everyone was like, this is fantastic. Now Flipgrid, after the pandemic, everyone does it. That's another thing with this. A lot of these have become a little more common after the pandemic than before, but hey, in case you haven't done it, that's fine. And then of course your tech certification. And there's 500 points, should be 500 points. I'll double check my totals. And there's the breakdown. And as you can see how it is, ignore that July. It's all broken down right there. And then I kind of color blocked them just to kind of help out a little bit. And the syllabus will look like this, just so you know. It goes by quick. And as you can see, what we're going to do this week, we're going to do website. I'm going to talk about the website here in a minute. The website is probably the most frustrating thing most people experience in this class. So we might as well just knock it out. The Google Classroom, I'll talk a little bit about here in a minute. Most people might already be familiar with Google Classroom. I'm actually a big fan of it. I've been using it more and more for some side projects that I do for Shepherd, and it's pretty just simplistic. That's what I like about it, but you can do a lot with it. And we'll talk about Google Arts and Culture. So with that being said, if anyone has any questions about the class, please contact me anytime. This is just for Education 500, not Education 380. So if you're undergraduate, you can kind of just take the next minute and just do this if you need to. But for Ed 500, you do have to do a research paper in this class. I will have it posted, what's needed on your site on Brightspace. Right now I'm in the 380 site because everything else is the same. The paper just needs to be about a tech issue in the classroom. And I'm pretty open to things. We'll talk about 21st century skills next week. 21st century skills, you can do something on that. That's like your critical thinking, communication, collaboration, things like that. You could pick a piece of tech and write a little paper on that. Some people like to do stuff on virtual realities and some of the benefits. Some even get into, is there too much tech, some tech issues. Really, it's a broad spectrum. Usually needs to be between 5 to 8 pages, double spaced, APA format. The breakdown again will be on your Brightspace page at 500. I would just tell you this too. I have something up there related to a literature review, which I think is important, but most people don't go on and do any type of doctoral work after this. So there's an option for, you can set it up either as a literature review or a traditional paper. Most people do traditional paper, but if you really want to get into the literature review, just contact me. I do have some resources posted on that. But again, that'll be posted. And now I'll bring 380 back and we're going to talk about the tech for 380 and 500. So let's go ahead and go. All righty. As you can see, each week I should have most things outlined. There'll be what we're doing, tech, and blogs and what you have to do. That's how I try to organize it. It is an asynchronous class. But again, these videos will be up each week. Also, just to kind of look, you can see I have some videos up there. That's actually an old video I had on A&C. I may keep it up though, just because it's even in Sakai, but I think it does a nice breakdown of the arts and culture. I think, if I'm reviewing myself. And there's always stuff on here, but I will have your assignments clicked here, and you can click them here, or you can click them up in assignments. But very first thing that you need to do for this class, we're going to talk about Google Arts and Culture. I'm going to click the link. And there's this is pretty simplistic one, but I think it's a pretty neat little thing. Let me click there. Oh, look at that. That's a link I need to fix, but that's all right. I was just on the site. Some things still kind of come over from Sakai when I rolled the class, when the class got rolled over from Brightspace, then the links don't always work. You don't care about that, but anyway, I'll fix that so the link works. And there's Google Arts and Culture. Just to give you a little background, we're not going to do too much with this. I just think it's neat, and we're going to do it for our class introduction exercise. As you can see, there's a lot of virtual reality field trips in here. There are where you can go to sites, you can check out marine stuff. There's a lot of stuff for art. Basically, it's called Arts and Cultures. It brings a lot of humanities in, but you can definitely integrate it with some science. You can do some social studies. My background is social studies. I used this actually in my class when it first started coming up or popping out, and people were integrating some things. Even math, there are some things with art and getting into dimensions and measurements and geometric type forms. As you can see, there's Duomo and all, but I would just say check this out. But here's what you need to do. And I'm going to jump back. Sorry, my thing here sometimes gets a little, I get too many sites opened up. Of course, now it's jammed. There we go. Well, you don't care about that. Hold on. I think we're back. There we go. Here's what you need to do with Google Arts and Culture. Check out the site. There is also a Google Arts and Cultures app. I'm going to hold up my phone to my camera. There it goes. That's my phone. What you need to do, you need to download the Google Arts and Culture app. I already have mine on there, and I closed it, but I'm going to reopen it here. I'm looking at my phone. What I want you to do is, sorry, I'm reopening it. Told you this is all, just do it on the road. When you get that in there, there'll be a little camera. Let me go out of this. Hopefully you can see this. When I hold that up, there's a camera phone. Do you see the little camera in the middle? When you click that, there'll be something that pops up and it looks like art filter or things like that. If you scroll the bottom, if you scroll that, there should be one that's called Art Selfie. It's kind of got it's the blue one. And what it does, I think it's pretty neat. Like I'm going to take my selfie right now. Okay. It'll ask for camera access. I'm going to take it. And what it does is it matches me up with different people that I look like. What I want you to do is do that. You can pick whatever one you like. I don't care. We've had some people with like 80-some%. Actually, that first one of mine was like a 70%. What I want you to do when the discussion board is open, I'd like you to post your selfie. You'll just load it up on the discussion board. Some people actually download it and just load it up as an attachment. Some people embed it. I don't care. As long as you can get it on there, that's fine. If you need help with that, just contact. But I want you to put it on the discussion board. And I just kind of want you to introduce yourself. Just say, provide a brief bio of your content area, whether it's social studies, English, math, PE, art, elementary, science, et cetera, et cetera. And just put it on there. It's just an intro exercise. Should be a very easy discussion board. I just made a big deal about the 200 words. The first one does not need to be 200 words. As long as you do the selfie and provide a little bit of background. If you want to put something that you're interested, like for example, maybe what you're doing this summer, like for example, I'm going to London and Paris. Actually, I'm going, speaking of arts and culture, I'm going to the Louvre, which is going to be pretty awesome. So that might be something I'll put on there. And I'll post mine up too. I'm filming this on Tuesday, the 17th. So I'll make sure it's up when our class starts a week from today. That'll be mine, and I'll look forward to seeing everyone else's. The next thing that you need to do is the website, and I will have videos up, and I will be the first person to admit you will some people love this after they get it. Some people are ready to strangle me when they by the end of it. It's okay. I don't care which one you use, but there are, I like the websites. I think there's some benefits to it with learning management systems like Google that have come out, and Canvas and Schoology and things like that. It's kind of, websites have kind of fallen a little out of vogue, but I used to have my students create websites. I used to create one for my own. There's a few very easy ones that are free. By the way, I'm glad I mentioned that. Anything we do in this class, you do not have to pay for. There's no cost with any of this. Just if anything asks for money, email me, because there shouldn't be. But like when we do these websites, you can upgrade for better access to things, but I'm not asking you to do that. But anyway, we're going to create a website, and here's how we're going to do this. As you can see, what I'm going to ask for with your website is, you're going to choose your software. You're going to have a choice between Wix, Google, or Weebly Education, which, by the way, you're going to get something on Weebly that says they're converting to Weebly. It's just they're moving stuff over. We're actually probably going to have this done before the actual conversion happens anyway. The other thing is I think some people like WordPress. That's fine. I don't care which one you use. If there's one that you use to make websites that's not listed here, that in and of itself is fine. I just want you to do a website, and on that, I just want you to create a title page, a sublink, and on that sub page, post something. Now you're probably saying, okay, that's great, Dr. Allen. I have no clue what you're talking about. And that's probably a good answer. But here's what I'm talking about. I'm just going to show you Weebly because that's the one I'm most familiar with, because for a long time it used to work with National History Day. They don't anymore, but that's what I learned with. It changed after I left here. If you go to Weebly Education, and I would go to Weebly Education first. When you go there, you're going to see all this stuff and have a Weebly account, log in. As you can see here, it's talking about it needs to build a new one. You might need to go ahead and I'm going to reread this real quick, make sure I'm not sending you down a bad path. Convert it to the free standard Weebly account. Sounds like you just need to create a Weebly account. Okay, so I already have one, so we'll go there, and we'll go to the Weebly thing in a minute too, and I'll show you where that is. But for the moment, I just want to show you how to make things work in the Weebly. Sorry, I knew there was a little bit of a change coming. This is one of the perks with summer. Oh, by the way, we're going to have, you might want to create a Google account. We're going to talk about that here in a second. Most things you can just create with your Google account, including Weebly. But when you go here, and let's hope I remember my password. I don't have my password book with me right at the moment. Not that you should have a password book, but sometimes I have to have one. All righty. But you can see I've used this for different things. I used to have my students create some sites and things like that. But my standard one was when I taught, I used the website for all of this. This was my 8th grade class, and I used to post things on it. And here's the thing. With your learning management systems, with your websites and things like that, they're so important because they can save you a lot of headache. One of the most important things that you have to do with your students is communication in the class and also communication outside of the class. So you want to make sure, I always like to try to nip things in the bud, so to speak, when I taught. And I know some people like to do that, and some are very much, well, it's the student's responsibility not to lose papers and things like that. I usually did post my handouts and things like that underneath my website, because if a student forgot it, I have a middle schooler, he's 13, he forgets stuff all the time. He could just go to the website. He knew, well, he could have went to the website, printed it out, no muss, no fuss. Plus, it kept me organized. And when I was in class, I could pull things up very easily. Like, for example, of course, I'd have to rotate it around and stuff, but you know, you get the point. Of course, I hit the rotation thing too much. There we go. But you know, stuff like that. There's pluses. Plus, here's another thing: if you have whatever you use, whether a website or a learning management system like Schoology, that's where you can do your announcements, where you can keep in touch with parents. It's kind of your home base. And I think it's a good thing. I had a learning management system. It was called RenWeb at my last school. It was okay. I just used my website. My students were pretty conditioned to go to the website. And parents seemed to like it because it was a little simpler, because didn't require a login, and it was just a link. And I had other things on here. That's great. You're probably saying, okay, so how do I do it? Well, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get out of this. Let me pick one of my older sites. There's a test one. So once you have your sites built or your login, you're going to go to edit, and it's plug and play. And I will be the first to admit, people get a little frustrated with this, but remember, I'm only asking for 3 things. A title page, a sub page, and you posting something. So if you want to create something, I'm just going to get this off there. Whoops. Maybe I'll get it off there. Whoops. All right, I deleted that. So you can see there's this little toolbar over here. You can move things over and plug it in. You can plug in videos. You can plug in images. You just do this. Let's do an image. So I just slide this over, and you see that little blue, I'm pointing at it like it's there, but there's a blue line right where I'm putting in there. It'll drop it right below there. And now I can upload an image. Let's just look. I said France, so why don't I do France? By the way, you can load anything up you want. So we'll just pick, I'm not being too picky about what I'm doing here, but hey, there's my title page. You can title it up here, Dr. Allen's page on France. Okay, there's my first thing. There's my title page. Next thing, these are the sub pages. Now, to do this, we need to, as you can see, there's something up here. It's called pages. You can add them. So there might even be there might already be names under there. You can get rid of these, or you can rename them. So we'll just, if I renamed it, I could just say pairs. And I'm glad this actually happened, because if you look, there's always some junk on here. Sometimes you might have to, if you don't want that, you can get rid of it, exit out, anything like that. So, you know, if you want to replace the layout or delete it, that's fine. You might even be able to drag some images in there. This is your sub page though. And let me go back. If you look, see, it's now called pairs. If you want to add one, you just hit the plus sign, and we just want standard page, and you'll just call it, let's just call it Normandy, because we're taking that. So of course I didn't spell it right. Boom, and done. So you can see there's another sub page. You only need to do one sub page. Now, when you do that, let's go back to Paris again, since I added that one. When you go there, you can, let's edit background, and you can add videos, you can do images. I'm just, again, just going to do this, add an image. Let's see, upload image. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do 2 things just to show you how it's done. I already did that image. Now, let's get that one out of there. Hold on. All right, that's my site. Oh, there's a file that you can upload. Let me go back. Sorry, my computer jammed. There we go. I don't like that. So we're going to go back and get out of there. Sorry, I think it's having a little time frame. Actually, let's cancel. There we go. That worked a little better. Let's go back to Paris here. And we'll edit. You can do a video. Let's do a video. I said you can do a document or a video. I'm going to do a video. And there's one on that one. Hey, I like that. So let's do that. That's an upgrade. But as you can see, don't do upgrades, by the way. Let's just do this. I'm going to make your life really easy. Just upload a file. You can grab some from your computer. I think you get the point. Sorry, I'm kind of babbling a little bit. But if you go, you should be able to just grab a file. This has nothing to do with anything other than, we'll put the West Virginia State Standards up there. How's that? Everyone should know those. As you can see, they're there. And that's it. As long as that's up there, I'm fine, whatever, if it relates to that. And again, you can actually get rid of any of this if you want to just do a color. Let's just, since I feel like I want it to look something nice. So let's see, search, we'll do pairs. Select, And after I do all that, there's my file. I did my home page. You hit save. Up there in the corner, some of my face was covering some of that. That was what was throwing me off. Now here's the most important part. Once you drag this stuff, and again, you can drag more stuff. Some people like to go crazy on this, and I think that's cool. If you want to do like an assignment drop, you can drop it. See, there's our blue line. You can just drop it. That's the whole thing. And then it loads the file up. You can have students submit things and stuff like that. But what you have to do is you have to hit publish. So it saves everything. Even though you hit save, you have to publish. And as you can see, there's your class, there's your email. This is what you're going to submit to me right there in that Weebly. Wix is very easy. Some people prefer Google. That's fine. Actually, I need to get a little more in the habit of using the Google one because I think it's becoming more popular. But this was Weebly, and you just need to create one. Some people like WordPress. Any of them will do. I will say this. Let me get out of there. Let me get my website back up. I will tell you this right now that I'm not too picky about which one you use, and you just need to, if you need help, please contact. And I'll have a tutorial up for each video. I always have one up on Google and Wix and things like that. So that might be my tutorial. Let's click it and just see. Yep, that's the Weebly.
Hi,
nice.
This is Richard Byrne. In this video,
thanks, Richard.
Let's take a look at Weebly for education.
So there you go. Actually, cancel. Sorry, I'm in my site. Next thing you need to do is I'm going to have you this week create a Google Classroom. As you can see, there's a video, and that's me actually explaining a little bit on it, but I'm going to show you again. I like how it's embedded in there, but so you have that. But just to kind of go over again, things change and such when I do some of these videos. If you haven't used the Google account, I have a feeling most people have it, but you need a Google account. And the first thing you need to do is when you go here, click that little circle up there, and you're going to you can add another account. You can create one. It's fine. If you need help creating it, that's fine. But most people, like I say, usually at this point have one. When you go there, you're going to click this little waffle after you create your Google account. You can scroll down. There should be something called Google Classroom. You're going to click that. And as you can see, these are some of my past ones. There's ones that I'm using right now. But when you do that, I'm going to see if I can make a new one here. Be nice. You're going to hit that plus sign right here. You're going to hit create class. Yep, I'm good with that. Hopefully I got space. All right. I'm a social studies guy. I'm going to go West Virginia history. And we'll call it section 1. Subject social studies. And it's in room. I'm just going to put my office. Let's see. All right. I'm creating it. Sorry, I have a lot on there, so it takes a few minutes sometimes for it to pop up. May tell me I need to delete some of these. Yep, let's try again. There it went. Little Google issue. It's going to take you here. Now there's a few things, and actually I want to go back and look at something really quick so I don't misspeak. Let's go back to week 1. And a little slow. If you go down here, what you have to do for Google is basically Google Classroom. Sorry, I thought I had that in there. There it is. It's a PDF. I'll post this up there. I want you to view the video on Google Classroom. What's this? Read instructions. Create a Google Classroom centered around the class you want to do. So, whatever your content area is, if you're in elementary, just pick content that you like. I want you to post one announcement in your classroom. I want you to embed one video. YouTube video is usually the easiest. Create an assignment that is a hyperdoc from the Google Docs and post on your website. This means that you'll need to create a Google Doc. Now, I'll explain all that here in a second. Okay, so what we're talking about, I have my space, create an announcement. It can be anything you want, but I will do welcome class West Virginia history. Mr. Allen. Forward to working with all of this here. And I'll post. And that's your first part. Boom. Now, the second part, there's classwork, people, grades. You can send me an invite with this. I'll put my Google address up too if you want to just do it, like just enroll me. Actually, it's usually better to submit the link, but either one works. All right. After you do your announcement, there's a button here called Create. I want you to, first thing, I said YouTube videos. So you're going to hit Material. If you look here, there's a YouTube video button. Let me get my face out of the way there. And you can look for something. So, I did West Virginia history. So let's do West Virginia state capital. I misspelled that, but we'll live. As you can see, there's an aerial view. So there's the capital. I'm just going to hit Tim's Travel. Looks like a great video. That's an old video because it looked like the dome was a little different. That's the one I want. You just say video on West Virginia Capitol. In case you're wondering, it's a building, so it's with an O and not an A. And there's the videos posted. Now the next one, you have to create an assignment in a hyperdoc. In case you don't know what a hyperdoc is, I have a feeling everyone in here has used them. They're the ones where people can work on it multiple times. Like for example, when I taught middle school, this was still pretty popular, and a lot of people do it now. You go in here and you create a Google Docs or a Google Slides. I'm going to do Docs, but you can do Slides. So you get it, you open it. And a lot of people like to do group work and stuff with this. So you create a doc and anyone can work on it and type. So if I'm working with someone in my group and they're on another computer and we're brainstorming an activity or taking notes. So I might have West Virginia capital is in Charleston. They might be putting something else in there like at the same time and it'll be showing up. That's a hyperdoc, like we can work on it. A lot of people like to use those for things like a lot of English teachers use them. I know for the writing process and maybe group work, typing notes. I've seen students that I had when they use Google Slides. One would work on a slide. They said, okay, I'm going to take the geography, you take the history, and I'll take the economics. And someone will try to take the fun stuff, like fun facts. And they're all working on different slides, but it's the same document because you've shared it. So it's up here. I'm going to name it that. That is already in my drive. Google automatically saves everything. So we'll just put this here. And a hyperdoc, like I say, it's almost like a live document. If you want to like not have people have access to it, you usually have to duplicate it if it hasn't been shared. But I would, there you go. And there's your share button. So if you want to ever share a document, I don't need to. And now it's going to be slow. There we go. But we'll just get out of there. I don't need it. Boom. All righty. I'm going to get out of my there. Now, what I said is you have to create an assignment. So you're going to go in here. And I'm just going to say, take with a partner, take notes on Charleston. Again, you can add more. But if you go here and you hit that little triangle, add a Google Drive file. If you look, there should be recent. So yes, it's there. You click there. I'm going to add that and I'm going to hit insert and it's there. They'll have access to the document. They can file it. Students can view file and they can work together. Now, the thing that I will say, most students, when they have this, every student might have it. So they will be working as a group. Usually they have to download the hyperdoc, share it with each other and type it, and then they can submit it and things like that. And as you see, you just hit the assign button. But a hyperdoc is like a live document. That's how I think of it. I'm sure if you had someone that is like a deep dive tech person, they would give you a much deeper thing. But Google Slides is one. At Shepherd, we have the OneDrive. You share documents. I've done it with colleagues here. I think the Google one is a little easier to use personally. I just think it's more user friendly. And as again, you can see all this stuff in here. forms. You could, if you want to use, I'd use docs. You're welcome to use forms. You're using, as you can see, you can embed an activity on Google Arts and Culture if you want to do a link. So, I mean, it's all there. It's all connected. If you want to experiment a little bit, but for the Google activity, I just want an announcement, a video, and a hyperdoc posted. It does say something about Quizlet. I like Quizlet. I'm not going to tell you to post anything on it. It's one of those things where I think I'm going to cut back on the summer, but I do want to at least show it to you. And then I know this video is getting a little long and I want to get off of here. So your sanity might be okay. But if you haven't used Quizlet, I think most people at this point know, but you can link Quizlet to Google Classrooms and you can sign in and create things with this, but they're basically study sets. I'm not signed in right at the moment, but when you go in here, you can just look for, so for example, West Virginia. You go in here, they're like no card to study terms. Students a lot of times will create these on their own, but you can embed these things in there, like Berkeley. Haha, who would have thought that would have showed up? I didn't know that was going to happen. Berkeley and Jefferson, 2 counties that voted to be part of West Virginia. And then they're just like note cards, and you can see there's flashcards and all. This is a cool one for students, and again, it's a tech that you might want to mess around with. I am going to let you off the hook as far as having to make one, unless you really want to embed one in there. Like if you want to put one in your Google Classroom, that is fine, but you don't have to. All right, I know that was a long video, and again, that's one of the sins of summer classes. So I just want to go over everything one last time, especially if I was a little quick. This week, you have to do your selfie with Google Arts and Culture. Post it to the discussion board. Just give a brief bio. Got to create a Google Classroom. You got to post in there an announcement, hyperdocs, which remember that's your live doc, and a video. With that, also, you can expand on it if you want to put a Quizlet and all, but just those 3 things: an announcement, hyperdocs, and a live doc, and a video. Sorry. Announcement, video, hyperdocs for the Google Classroom. The website, which I think might be the trickiest thing for most people. If you use Weebly or any Google Classroom or WordPress, that's fine. I will have help videos up just in case I was a little clunky with my explanations. But you pick those, you're going to make a title page, you're going to make a sub page, and on that sub page, I want something posted. It can be a video, it can be a document, something related to the content. So if you do those, or those are the assignments this week. Again, there's on there, and you know why I'm on here seeing this, because I keep saying it. A lot of people like it, and I don't update it. I'm going to go ahead and put WordPress. Boom. I'll update that. Okay. That's your assignments this week. Again, I will help videos, and they'll be underneath each thing. Like I'll make sure there's one underneath here for websites and stuff like that. There's a video on Google Classroom and hyperdocs and stuff like that. See if that, better make sure that one works, right? Let's look. And it does. That's because it was the one I did. But there's a really good ed tech site that uses some of these. I might actually employ some of their videos because I think they've got a lot of bells and whistles. With that being said, please contact me if you have any questions. Most videos will not be this long, only because I want to make sure we'll be going over the syllabus. And it is asynchronous, so everything should be posted and self-explanatory. Hopefully, if it's not, just let me know. Again, I'm around. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to get off of here because I think I've been babbling for a long time. This has probably been about a 30-minute video. So talk to you all later. Have a good week. We'll have a good summer class. So thank you.